637. And the members present are myself, Bill Johnson, John, and Duncan. So our order of business tonight is just to review the warrant articles for the special town meeting. There's several of them for our recommendation or not. So I guess we'll just start with Article 3. You guys all have a copy of the articles? I think I sent them out.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So Article 3 is the public safety building for upgrades to the HVAC system. It's $16,825. Chief Barrett, if you'd want to make give us a little background there.
Yeah, so it's actually a two-part piece here. When they're doing our maintenance this fall, they found that one of the controllers. Now I don't speak HVAC that well, but it's it's an existing controller that controls the HVAC system. I guess there's a few different ones. It's like 3 in the whole building. One was not working, so they had to bypass it. So it's actually running all the time right now, which is not very efficient. So this funding would replace the controller and also the software that runs the HVAC system is not supported by the vendor any longer. So we also need to upgrade that software. So it's two-part piece. We figured we'd do it both at the same time because it saves us a little bit of money from having to come out twice to do the job.
All right. Any questions? Anyone? Don, John, Bill? Okay. All right. We'll vote on all these at the end. So we'll move on to the Article 4, which is for a unmarked cruiser. Chief, it's yours again.
Yep. So this is from the original capital plan. This cruiser was to be replaced this year. So it would be the vehicle that will be ultimately replaced by it is an unmarked Ford utility. It's going on 9 years old right now, has over 110,000 miles. So basically we have two different plans for our cruisers. One's for our marked cars, the other one's for our unmarked. The marked cars, as you know, is in the police department's operating budget, and that's replaced as a cruiser replaced every single year for the marked cars. The unmarked, because we get about twice as much life out of them, we squeeze about 9 or 10 years out of an unmarked. And we have a rotation for those between myself, my lieutenant, and the detective utility vehicle type of setup, which is not only used by the detective, it's used by a number of officers for training and so on. So we rotate so we can get the most life out of that particular vehicle. So again, the one that this is replacing is almost 10 years old, and currently it has about 110,000 miles on it.
Jamie, I want to add that there's also a grant for $5,000, which covers the additional cost to make this a hybrid vehicle.
Okay. Go
Yeah, Ed
green.
Fatone had gotten a grant on that, so we're going to try the hybrids out, see how they hold up, and if they're a good thing. There's not only if we can continue to get grants on them, it's a savings, but also hopefully a fuel savings as well.
All right. Sounds. I think that's on my list here. I think that's the 2012 vehicle, the one we're replacing.
That is, it's actually a 2013. We purchased it in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Chief, is there any value, or what's the expected value of trading the current vehicle in?
I couldn't hear anything you were saying, Bill. You're breaking up. I don't know if it's you or me.
Was there?
Is there a trade-in value that we can expect from that vehicle?
Yes, and but I don't know what it is. It's not going to be a lot. you know, the mock cars, and once they get up over 100,000, we lose value on them, but it'll probably be somewhere in the area of maybe a couple $1,000s.
Yeah, the only reason I was asking the question was, so the 60,000 that we've got down here, so is it really 65,000 because we've got the grant and then whatever we get for the trade-in, so it might not be that amount of money, maybe less than that?
So the $60,000 covers the cost of the vehicle. The $5,000, the $5,000 that we would get in the grant would go into the general fund, I assume. Brian, probably.
It'll cover the vehicle, and then there's other accessories and stuff that Larry has to put on that vehicle to make it compliant.
Okay,
That's
that's
gonna
good.
bring it to the 60,000.
All right, thanks.
The cost of the vehicle is 57 and some change, and then the outside equipment that we need, with another radio for it, is about another $3,000. So the total cost of the vehicle is about 60, and then whatever we get for a trade or anything would go back to the town. It would offset some of that cost.
Okay, thank you. Article 5 is a transfer of funds from the capital reserve for a new ladder truck. Chief Plant, would you like to give us a little background?
Yeah, we've applied for the Assistance to Firefighters grant for the new Quint. So it's a ladder truck, but it also has a pump and a water tank, and it's a much more versatile vehicle than just a standard ladder. And that $48,000 is the town's portion, where the grants are set up. They have to pay about 5%. The towns have to contribute 5% onto the grant. By putting it aside now, it earmarks the money for it. So if we do get the grant, we can, pay our contribution towards it.
When are the grants awarded?
They
Well,
take,
timeframe.
so the grant actually closed on the 12th of this month. So it'll take a couple of months for them to go through their process. And then when they award the grants, they do them in groups. So weekly, they'll award X number of dollars until the money is exhausted. So that takes somewhere between 3 and 4 months. Once that process starts, usually about June, and it'll run into October before the whole all the money is distributed.
Chief, is this a state grant or a federal grant?
This is federal.
So if we got the grant, it would probably be like next summer when we got the vehicle, or took.
We do have a
Took
couple
on.
options. If we order one custom built, it'll, number one, be more money. I mean, it'll be within the grant, but it'll be expensive. And it does take about 12 to 14 months to build one. They have, all the manufacturers always have demos available. And these demos are only used by factory reps. They'll be at shows and whatever. But there's a significant savings, and they're usually available within 30 to 60 days.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
What's the expectation of getting a grant?
They're tough to get. It's difficult to tell because different vehicles have a better chance depending on the community. We're in a good spot. We already have our ladder truck, so this is a replacement. We have enough buildings 2 stories and above to warrant having the vehicle, and plus we're asking for a Quint, which will augment our overall capabilities. So we're still probably 20% tile in that area, which isn't bad.
Okay.
Anybody, any other, John, anything? Okay. All right, thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
The next one is Article 7, which is the Ashburnham Westminster Regional District Capital Request for last year. which was 105,210, and our request is for 88,756. And Ryan, you want to explain that a little?
Sure. So I had sent emails to the school due to the new bus contract that the town had lost $16,454, and they had not responded to my emails. So I reduced this line item by that. Since this warrant has been submitted, I have gone to the school and talked to Todd and the business manager, Julie, and had an in-depth conversation regarding this. And unfortunately, what I was hoping they could do, they can't do. I wanted them to take the money out of excess and deficiency. However, state law says if they do that, they need to give Westminster their portion of the money. So they would actually get more than their 16,454. So after that discussion, it was even discussed last night that maybe, my thing is I can either do another warrant at annual town meeting for the 16,454, or Bill Johnson had mentioned maybe modifying this on the floor at special town meeting up to the 105,210. There is plenty of money in free cash to make that adjustment. I'm open to both areas of that.
Any comments?
Seems like we ought to just make that modification at the meeting and go put all of it in one shot instead of a second whole warrant.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that it's around the number that we've kind of committed to, is the 100,000 number. So I think we can do that. Because Westminster's already, this year's money, Westminster has already approved at their town meeting last May, their portion of the FY21 capital plan.
So some of my discussion with them was also, I was kind of hoping that they had used some of the CARES Act money to offset the capital that we were looking to buy. But that's not how they use their CARES Act money. So unfortunately, I couldn't get an offset there either, but I tried for that first. So I thank you. If you do want to modify it, I'm in agreement with that.
Okay. Article number 8, highway repair and maintenance. This is to take $415,958 from free cash for the paving management plan. Brian or Steve, you want to?
I'm just going to
Little
start, pass it to Steve.
Okay.
That streets haven't been funded the last couple of years. So from my perspective, maybe during my interview process was to get money for the roads. And this is how much I think we're comfortable allocating. And I'll let Steve talk more about the allocation, if you don't mind, Steve.
So we worked on a plan with Brian and Bill Johnson and the DPW. Everybody knows we have a pavement management plan. And what we did was we pared it down. We typically use 5 years, but sometimes that's been unrealistic due to funding or due to costs. So we've pared it down to 3 years, what we think is reasonable. And if the people don't know, it's now on the website of what we're going to do with the money for the next years. So we say all the time, you can give us $1 million, but we couldn't get the work done. So this is a reasonable amount of money, and this will, between Chapter 90 and this, will bring us close to $650,000. So if you want me to go over all the streets we're going to do, I can, but it's on the website. You can see them all. So if you have questions, I'd be glad to answer them, but this will boost our Chapter 90 money. Part of our Chapter 90 money has to go to engineering. So we get 376, but we don't really get all of that money because we're still paying for the engineering for 101, which will be this year and next year, and then we'll be done with that. So after that, we'll start getting the 376. Anybody has
Questions?
glad to answer them.
See, which side of 101 is that engineering? Is that for,
That's from Quarry Hill all the way to the Gardner line. So it's the
Okay.
project I've been working on. It's at, well, that's the next article if you want me to just keep going. I said, do you want me to keep going or?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
You want-
Steve. Yeah.
So as we know that the state only pays for construction, it does not pay for engineering. So the reason we're asking for 72,000 more is because once the design went to the state, we do have a 10-foot wide shared use path in there that goes basically from Forestall Road to the Bresnahan Center on that side of the road. And once it went to the 25% design, that the state chose to make changes, which drove the engineering up above the original cost. So that's why we're looking for 72,000 more. If we don't get it, we're going to have to take it out of the road money. We'll have to do less roads. That's all. Because we didn't know that when we did that plan. So, and this is on target. The 75% of this will be due on 6/25 of this year, and then construction is anticipated for the beginning of 2023. So we're moving forward with that. We're getting closer.
Good. That's good. All right, I think that's it, unless anyone has any other questions. One other thing I know, Brian mentioned at the advisory board meeting that with the free cash, there'll be 175,000 for snow and ice to close that gap.
Correct, and that should still leave us just shy of 200,000 because the 16 is now coming off. It'll leave us just shy of that to roll forward to next year or cover revenue shortfalls this year.
Okay, anybody have any other questions for the group?
Jamie, the only thing I wanted to say was that, just so it's clear to everybody, the 1.2 million that we had in free cash is actually 2 years worth of free cash, because it didn't get certified last year, it got rolled over. So Brian certainly has done a good job since he's been here, but he wasn't able to get the whole 1.2 million in 1 year. So we will not likely see a free cash number this robust next year. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
And I will say on that note, some of it were offsets from even prior years. There were years that they carried offsets for the tune of around $420,000 that between myself and the town accountant, Julie, we got removed. So it's not really 2 years worth. It's probably accumulation of several years past that they carried these offsets that we finally got removed. But again,
Yeah.
Bill's correct. It won't be as robust going forward, probably.
Yeah,
Well, come on,
and
what we pay you for, isn't it?
the other thing that's important about that is that because of the work that Brian and Julie have done, it is now a clean slate. On the financial side, we've got no more lead weights holding us down with this crap floating around in our accounting. So it's a clean slate moving forward.
Right. So on that note, there are, I think, around 14 adjustments that the state was ticking us for. Those are down to 0.
Excellent. So, all right. And let me put together here, I'd make a motion to recommend, we won't do Article 7, we'll make a separate one for that, but I'll do a motion to recommend special town meeting articles 3, 4, 5, 8, and 9 as written.
Second.
Second. John. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I do need a roll call vote.
Okay. Jamie, aye.
Duncan, I.
John, I.
Bill, yes.
Okay, 4-0. And then the other one, I'll make a motion to recommend or to adjust, would it be adjust? Special town meeting article number 7 to 105
210.
210. Does that sound correct?
Correct.
All right, so do I have a second?
Second.
Is that John or Dunk? Dunk.
Dunk.
Okay. All those in favor, Jamie, aye.
Duncan, I.
John, I.
Bill, aye.
Okay, takes care of that. We have any other business? John, Dunk? No,
I think
I'm
I'm good.
okay. Our next meeting, I was going to have it with the advisory board before the town meeting, just in case something comes up. So our next meeting will be February 22nd at 6:30 at J.R. Briggs. Is that correct?
Caucus is at 6:30, I think, right, Mary?
Yes.
So, all right, do we want to be 6:45? I don't know, the town meeting's 7, right?
Correct.
Why don't you go for 6:15, because we actually need 25 people for the caucus. So we can get there for that. You folks can you can get involved in the caucus and get it all done, and then you got to stay for the meeting. So it'll be a nice night out.
Which, what day was that, Jamie?
22nd.
That's next Monday, 22nd.
Okay.
All right, so our next meeting will be 22nd at 6:15, so we can all join the caucus. We'll vote as a block. We could be block voting,
There you go.
so. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
6:59. All those in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for attending.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your
Thanks
support.
for the updates.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.